you ready?
I'm ready.
Stand by!
All right, welcome back to the channel. Again, this is Headspace and Timing. We're going to do a quick video today about power factor. So when I first started shooting USPSA, I didn't understand what power factor was. Generally speaking, power factor has to do with muzzle velocity, has to do with a couple different other calculations, but we'll get into why it's important in this video and kind of talk about overall what you need to know about power factor so you don't have any issues at one of your matches. Okay, so power factor can be broken down with an easy calculation. So the calculation is mass times velocity divided by 1,000. So let's talk about what mass is. Mass, what we're really talking about with mass is grain itself. So for instance, 9mm 115 grain ammo is what I'm talking about when I say grain. There's 115, 147, 124. There's a whole bunch of different grain types that you can shoot. And for this power factor calculation, you're utilizing that grain. That's your first number. Your second number is your muzzle velocity. So usually when you purchase ammunition, it shows muzzle velocity on the package, and we'll show a clip of that here in a second. It shows what muzzle velocity is at different distances. So at the muzzle, 10 yards away, 25 yards away. That could be potentially important for you when you're doing these calculations. So you take your mass, or you take that grain, and you multiply it by that muzzle velocity. Okay, so for instance, 115 grain ammo multiplied by muzzle velocity of, let's say, 1190, and then divide that by 1,000, and you'll get your power factor. Okay. Now, power factor is not to be confused with hit factor. We can do another video on that later on. That's a different calculation, but power factor is important because if you fall outside of that power factor range, depending on what division you're in, we'll have an issue. So let's talk about the divisions and what power factors are for these divisions. So all the divisions except for two have a major and a minor power factor. That major and minor power factor are the same for every single division except for the two that I'll list in a second. But the major power factor is 165, and the minimum power factor, or the minor power factor, is 125. So again, you take that muzzle velocity, or I'm sorry, that mass, multiply it by the muzzle velocity, and then divide it by 1,000, and that will give you your power factor. So the only two divisions that don't utilize that major power factor number is production and carry optic. They have just that minor power factor. So I'm not saying that you can't shoot those major loads, but it doesn't give you an advantage to shoot that heavier grain with that higher muzzle velocity. Okay. Another thing to think about is USPSA has now, within the last year or so, come up with a list of certified ammunition. So there's some certified ammunitions that you can find inside the regulation, inside the rule book, and under Appendix Charlie, it kind of gives you more details about that.
So I wanted to go over the significance of power factor. On a USPSA target, this image you're seeing on the screen is courtesy of Target Barn. Major power factor gives more points. So if you're shooting a 45 or a 40 Smith & Wesson, or even a 9mm, that meets the major power factor of 165. In the C and D zones, you get more points. So if you're not 100% on with your precision, the Charlie zone on major power factor gives you 4 points versus 3 points on minor power factor. Same thing with the Delta, 2 points for major and only 1 point for the minor category. So with regards to steel targets, all they have to do is fall. So they don't really matter as far as power factor is concerned. Both are worth 5 points in major and minor category as long as they fall and they are not failure to engage. So if there's something you guys want to see on the channel, leave us a comment below, even if it's something unrelated to USPSA or shooting sports. We do all kinds of outdoor stuff. Give us a comment below and let us know what you want to see from the channel. We're trying to get everything started, and we want to make sure everyone feels comfortable with the shooting sports and anything regarding outdoor life. So leave us a comment and let us know what you want to see.
Are you ready? I'm ready. Stand by!